Hello and welcome to our fifth installment of our Braille Trail Reader series. In this installment, we're going to take a look at transferring a file using the Braille Trail file transfer software. The first thing you need to know is that this software is available from aph.org, and there is a link in the description of this YouTube video to get you to the location from which you can download that software. The first time you open this application, it's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions about the kind of translation that you want. And we can actually recreate that by pressing Alt F and arrowing down to conversion mode. There. So this is what the dialog box might come up when you first load this. It is going to have you choose between computer and literary braille on the top, and then in this bottom table it's going to ask you which translation table you want. As you can see at the very top, there's English UEB and English US, as well as various other ones. Once you set this, you don't always have to see it again. There's this always ask check marks on the bottom. And we're just going to hit OK just so that you guys know that you have some control over how your file transfers and what language it transfers over to in your Braille Trail reader for your student. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at ways of getting things into this software. And before we do that, let's just kind of look at the way the software is laid out. So the very top obviously is your title bar, and below that are your menus. Alt F will take you to your file menu, Alt O will take you to your operations menu, Alt R will take you to the reader menu, and Alt H will take you to the help menu. Those are very few commands because this is not a very complex piece of software. So below those menu items are two areas. Your screen is split visually into two sections. The section on the left is called PC files. This is where you will load files that you want to be placed on your Braille Trail reader. They will live in that PC files pane until you tell the software to transfer it over. On the right side is your Braille Trail reader file pane. When you connect your device, it will load every file that is currently on the device that was transferred via this software. And if there aren't any, it will be blank. It doesn't matter how many times you unplug or plug in your Braille Trail reader, until you delete that file using this software, it will live on your Braille Trail reader. You cannot remove the file by opening your Braille Trail reader file and trying to delete it. It doesn't work like that. You'll notice that at the very top it says reader files, and there is a giant X next to it, as well as some buttons that say connect and disconnect. On the bottom of that pane on the lower right, there's also some text that says device and the words not connected. So until we physically connect that device and actively make our computer recognize it, it won't recognize it at all. So before we do anything else, including loading files, we're going to connect that device. Firstly, let's make sure that that switch is all the way to the left. That's located on the back of your Braille Trail reader. And the commands to connect it are Control T to connect and Control S to disconnect. So I'm going to do a Control T, and I'm going to get a dialog box, and it says device connected. So I'm going to hit enter, and now you'll see visually, and if you were using a screen reader, you would also find that that Braille Trail reader file pane is empty, but it no longer has that X, and it also has the connect button grayed out, so you can't activate it. You could activate the disconnect button here, but really there's no point because we're just going to need to connect it again. So there's more than one way to do just about everything, and that applies to adding files. The first way to add a file is to simply go into your Windows Explorer, copy it, enter your Braille Trail Reader LE, and paste it. So you would copy it with a Control C and you would paste it with a Control V. Individuals who are sighted or are very mouse oriented can drag and drop files into that PC Files pane, or we can get those files into that pane by following the steps I'm going to show you now. I'm going to do an Alt F, and the first item in that file menu is Add to PC Pane. So I'm going to hit enter there. And it already stuck me in my downloads folder where that file was living, and it's okay. You will notice, however, that there are no files listed there, and that can be very off-putting the first few times, but don't worry. The reason that there's no files listed is because down here in this bottom drop-down menu, you can choose text file or BRF file, which file type you're looking for. Right now, text file is selected. So in order to find that BRF file that I know is there, I'm going to navigate to that text file area, and if I was using a screen reader, I would use just a tab to tab over there, and a down to bring that down arrow, bring that drop down open, and I'm going to select BRF with my arrows and click on the enter, and look at that. There you go. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the BRF file is right there. You can use your mouse to double click it, or you can use your screen reader to go up there and select it, whatever you are most comfortable with, and applies to you. And then once that's selected, go ahead and press enter. As you see, it's added to the PC Files pane, and it is ready to be transferred. Now, there is, of course, more than one way to do that as well. If I wanted to, if that was the wrong file, which we would hope not, but if it were, I could press the F8 and it would ask me if I was sure. And that means, do I want to delete it? Well, I really don't, because it was the correct file. So I'm just going to hit escape and get out of there. Or I can tab over to the no. So to transfer it over to that reader files pane, what we need to do first is to make sure it's selected. So however you would choose to select that file, whether it be by using your down arrows and your space bar, it's selected when it's that funky red color that makes it completely impossible for you to actually read the text visually. So that's a real hint there. So in order to transfer that, you're going to hit an F5, and as you can see, it opens this copying dialog box. It's only going to be so fast because this is an external file transfer. It's done through a cord, and it's not done internally. It's not like moving from one folder to another. It's moving to a completely different device. So while that's happening, let me tell you another thing that you can do is you can transfer the file and do like an open and transfer, and I'll show you that in the file menu as well. That's really kind of neat. You can select a file and then have it transfer automatically as soon as it's selected. And I'll show you when this is done. But here we go. Oh, we're at 100% already. That was actually pretty quick. I just need to go down there to the OK. Yep. Okay, so now you see that both of these files are there. You have the file on the PC and the file on the Braille Trail. You can also, like we were talking about, if you go up to this file menu and you go add to PC Pane and transfer, that eliminates that second step of hitting that F5. So if you want to do it all in one step, you would just hit that second one instead of the first. Now your file is located on your Braille Trail reader. In order to read it though, you're going to have to disconnect your Braille Trail reader from the software. So you are going to do a Control+S to disconnect it. And you're going to get a dialog that says disconnected, and just hit enter. And if you can take my word for it, I'm going to go in here. Okay, file. Notes, here we go, notes, and then I'm local files. Well, those are the files that are created on the Braille Trail, so we don't care about that so much. And then we're going to go to, here we go, files, and then I'm going to hit select, and here it is, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Again, I can't delete this file from this device this way. So I'm going to reconnect my device. So check this out. I'm just going to do a Control T to connect it. And here we go. It's connected again. And as you can see that Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is on both panes. So I'm going to just do a tab over and select that file. There we go. And in order to select that, you got to make sure to press that space bar. Remember, here's the unselected, selected. So I can't read the text, so therefore the thing is selected. And then I'm going to press F8. It's going to ask me if I'm sure. That's going to take that off of my Braille Trail reader. And I'm just going to hit enter, and it's going to say delete successful. I'm going to hit actually tab down to your OK again. So as you can see, there it is. It's not there anymore. Now I can delete that file from my transfer software here and do an F8. Again, am I sure? Yes, I am. Delete successful. Oops, and then OK button, and here we go. We're right back. So then I can disconnect again. If you forget those shortcut commands, and it's very easy to do, you're going to do the Alt-H and how to use, and you're going to hit enter. And it's going to give you these shortcut commands if you need them in this dialog box, and you can escape to get out of that. Again, I'm just going to do an Alt-O to show you just a little something in the operations menu. It again has these options also in the operations menu. So if you don't want to open that help menu, you can go to the operations menu with an Alt-O and then select what you want, and that will execute the operation. Okay? Additionally, one more thing, we're going to do an Alt-R for reader. Oops. Yes, we are, except we're going to make it work this time. There we go. And connect, disconnect, and device information. So again, very limited menu, but then again, you can't do a whole lot with this software, just transfer files back and forth. I hope that this was helpful for you. Please let us know by providing feedback in our comments section on our YouTube, in this YouTube channel, and please subscribe to us if you would like to see further tutorials on this sorts of things. So, all right, have a great day.